talked about it yesterday, just that chip on your shoulder. Everyone talking about a neutral AFC championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds.
I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. Back-to-back champs, kings of the north with it. Thinking they can hang with us, still ain't jumped out the porch with it. Long bomb to chase every Sunday, watch him go and get it. Double up on him, then we gon' double down on T. Higgins. Then throw Boyd in the mix, now you really iffy. Every Sunday showing boys how to really gritty. They try to shuffle up the game on us, but they ain't icky. Flip the coin, kick the toe right to the go and get it. Never know what's gonna happen when Joe drop back. He get shiesty in the pocket, I get shiesty on the track. Nobody on the team all pro, that's all cap. Most all around team in the NFL, that's all fact. Ain't came across nobody yet that seem like they can hang with us. They said we couldn't be Buffalo, but see how we call they bluff. Underdogs every week, they keep on trying to label us. Put your money on us, even if Vegas don't favor us. No matter what, we really came up, now it's hard to fail. I dare you come across that middle, Von gon' ring your bell. I know we under they skin, them boys built frail. Eli Apple out there chirping like a next tail. You don't want Salmon Trey to come off them ends. Rita clogging up the middle like a big body Benz. Right behind them Logan and Pratt, the turnover twins. Jesse Bates in the backfield just to clean up the loose ends. We just drafted Cam and drafted Hill. Instant gratification every time that they on the field. We can't go back to what we was, cause that's the loser way. It's been hard to throw on us since we picked up a Woozier. It's like win after win, feel like we could really do it. Zach Taylor doing his thing for the city, I give it to him. And I bet Samaji will find a hole if you give it to him. Hayden Hurst don't need a hole, he just plan on running through him. Just hand it off to 28 and let him do the dash. Getting hit by BJ Hill probably feel like a car crash. Every week it seem like Lou digging deeper in his bag. And if the game on the line, all my favorite money match. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up.
What do we say, Dolph?
That's right. They got to play us. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the show. This is Bengals Talk with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'll bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the back-to-back AFC North champion Cincinnati Bengals. Now, do me a favor. If you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I'm up to 2,201 subscribers. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you're watching Facebook or Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, why not? Please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel, Bengals Talk with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for notification. Every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chat. So if you got a question that you want to ask Bengals legend Reggie Williams, give me a super chat. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, I come to you live from the Ice Cave. The Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And you know what? I wear it every single day. We got the greatest quarterback in the league. We call him Jackpot Joey. We got the hats. We got the hoodies. We got the beer. We got the banners. Portion of the proceeds go to the Joe Burrow Hunger Relief Fund and the Joe Burrow Foundation. So make sure you get all your merchandise right there at jackpotjoey9.com. What's going on to everybody in the chat crew? Stranger, you were first. What's going on? Darth's in there. Ken's in there. Huda88, Jerome's in there, Foxy, Stranger, all kinds of guys. All right, I know you guys are more than as probably excited as I am to get to the guests. Let's get to my co-host first. He's Big Sandwich Greg. Yep, it helped. I add him onto the stream first. There you go, Greg.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. What's up? All right, let's get to the legend here. Reggie Williams. Reggie, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Jeff, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Greg?
Can't complain. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I like all of this, this hype around Joe Burrow. He is the answer to our Super Bowl needs. So,
yep.
I'm looking forward to this conversation, man. Strawberry ice, baby.
Exactly. Now, me and Greg were just talking about how we're not enjoying the weather up here. You know, it's up and down cold. You're down there in Orlando, Florida, where it's like nice and sunny every day, right?
It is nice and sunny today. I won't say it's like that every day. I mean, there are blizzards here, but I'm looking forward to coming up to Cincinnati this weekend. What's the weather going to be like up there?
Actually, it's supposed to be warm. I think you're bringing the sun with us, which good point. You're coming up here, and if anybody wants to meet you, you're coming up this Saturday, right?
I'll be up there Saturday at the Heirloom Framing up in Fairfield. Be there from 11 to 1. There to sign some bobbleheads or any other, personalized items that any of the great fans of Cincinnati have. Feel free to bring them down there. That weekend is the 25th anniversary of Kelly Youth Services, which is a group home business that my linebacker teammate, first round draft choice Joe Kelly, started 25 years ago, and he has helped over thousands of kids, who don't have parents, help them with all kind of tutoring, all kind of mentoring, all kind of progress for them to make contributions to the quality of life for everybody in the greater Cincinnati area.
Awesome. Again, real quick, where is that at again for everybody didn't hear it the first time?
Yeah, for the autographs, it's going to be at Heirloom Framing, which is out in Fairfield. It's going to be from 11 to 1 o'clock.
11 to 1 o'clock. Sounds good. All right, so first off, we just got done with the draft. The Bengals have come off back-to-back AFC championship games. Some people are kind of disappointed with the draft. I actually kind of like it. I would have liked us to get a tight end. Very defensive, heavy draft. I think we probably have one of the deepest defenses in the NFL now. What's your thoughts on the Bengals draft?
Well, I have to look at this year's draft in the same way I have to reflect upon my own draft.
Okay.
And so back in 1976, there wasn't nowhere near the hype.
Oh, sure.
Nothing was televised, but they still, had the draft order. Mm-hmm. And even though I was drafted in the 3rd round, I was the 6th choice in the 3rd round. They drafted Billy Brooks, number 1, as a wide receiver. And then they drafted Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy Award winner.
I heard of him.
Already you're thinking, man, this is going to be a great draft because Billy Brooks will help open up Isaac Curtis and our other wide receivers at that time. And then they had, in the 2nd round, Glenn Boujnot, who started for several years at offensive guard. And he was followed by Chris Barr, who was a kicker. So I got drafted behind a kicker. Now, I will say this about Chris Barr. He didn't last that long in Cincinnati, but he went on to play for the Raiders and ended up playing more games than I did. He ended up playing 210 games. So that is one of the remarkable things. And ahead of me was in the 3rd round with Danny Reese, who never played for the Bengals. He immediately went to Tampa Bay and had a good career there. So there I was. And, we didn't have a quarterback controversy at the time. Ken Anderson was our quarterback.
Yep. Who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Thank you.
Throw it out there.
No, I totally agree with you. Kenny Anderson, now that Ken Riley is in,
which is great.
Definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, especially when you consider that Dan Fouts is in the Hall of Fame. He's been in there for decades.
That's my argument all the time.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, all the time.
And, of course, we beat, Dan Fouts 2 times in the 1981 season.
Yep.
We beat him up.
Yeah,
they try to say that it was, one game that was the AFC Championship was because it was so cold. Well, we beat them in their place when it was their weather.
Yep.
Yeah. We just tore them apart. I remember that's the game that Lewis Breeden set the all-time record for an interception with a 102-yard interception touchdown in San Diego. So, and he got that off of Dan Fouts.
Exactly. Take that. Now, since you brought the Freezer Bowl up, we got to ask. And I'm old enough to remember it. I remember it was freaking cold as hell. My uncle actually went to the game. He actually went to the 82 Super Bowl, but 81 season Super Bowl up in Detroit. What was that like playing in that game? I've had Dave Lapham on here and Jim Breach. Jim Breach says it was like kicking a brick with the football, and Dave Lapham come out, no sleeves. Just what was your take of playing in still, to this day, the coldest game in NFL history?
Oh, I remember that game intimately. I also was the only player on defense that played bare arm. And I do claim that I'm the one that helped inspire the offensive line.
Damn right.
Oh,
you are.
wow.
Because I'm from Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
So I grew
Right.
up in the cold. I played, football in the cold. I used to love playing in the ice and snow. And then I went to Dartmouth College, which is in Hanover, New Hampshire, which is even colder.
Right.
And so when that game came up, I remember going outside about a half hour before game. There was no pregame practice for either team. There was
Right.
nobody in the stands. It was an empty stadium. I could see the cold coming off of the AstroTurf at Riverfront like you usually see fog coming off of the water in the morning.
Right.
And it was like a real unreal feeling.
Mhm.
And I went out there with a T-shirt.
Woo!
And so
Dude.
as I stood out there for about 5 minutes, I said, these guys my teammates are waiting for me to come back in. I'm supposed to be the tough guy, the
Right,
inspiring
right.
guy.
Right.
And so I went back in the locker room and I said, "Hi, I love it. I'm gonna play bare arm. Who's with me?"
That's awesome.
So Anthony was the first to speak up, then the rest of the offensive line. And I tell you, the San Diego Chargers were totally intimidated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they came in wrapped up everywhere that they were exposed. I mean, they couldn't move.
Right.
And we had experience because our head coach, Forrest Gregg, had played in the previous
Yep.
coldest game ever.
Nice
And
ball.
he himself bundled up.
he wasn't running around playing. He was sitting on the
No.
sidelines there.
No, Rich, quick question. Wasn't James Brooks playing for the Chargers at that time?
Yes, he was. He was
fumbled the ball,
playing for the
too.
Chargers. And, obviously Dan Fouts was there. They had Kellen Winslow,
Okay.
who was their Hall of Fame tight end. They also had, I think Jefferson at a wide receiver. They had a great offense, okay?
Yep.
So it was Air Coryell.
Yep.
But
Right.
that freeze put the air somewhere else. Okay?
It took it out.
Took the air out of their game.
Exactly. Ken here he said, how did the field feel landing on it? I mean, it's AstroTurf already, so it wasn't the softest thing.
No, it was hard. It was as hard as concrete.
Oh,
I
good.
remember late in the game when the Chargers are driving for a score. It wasn't going to be a score that was going to win the game or tie the game, but it would have put them in a more, competitive posture. And they were inside our red zone. And I remember I got cut by one of their one of their running backs. And I hit the ground and rolled up and said, you know what? Dan Fouts is going to hit the ground now.
Yeah, baby, let's go.
And I scrambled up to my feet and was able to get to him. And I remember putting him down on the ground. And when he had to put his bare hand on that cold turf, you could see him going like, oh.
This is awesome.
So the ground was cold.
Yeah.
And there was no doubt that that contributed to our victory that day. Plus the 40+ thousand fans. I mean, there's tens of thousands more that claim they were there.
My
But
uncle
I'm
actually
telling you-
was. He actually was there. I know he was. So.
Well, the 41+ thousand that did go there, they made a lot of noise. They created a home field advantage.
Right.
They let us know that they were super excited for us to win this game and take our team to the very first Super Bowl in Cincinnati Bengal history. And that was the season that Houday became the champ.
Yep.
So
That's awesome.
you're going right to the origin of what has still withstood the test of time. That's one of the best cheers in all of the National Football League.
Absolutely.
That is awesome.
If you saw the Phil the Fan of the Year this year announced, I think it was the 6th round pick in Kansas City. He's in there on stage doing the Houday chant himself and getting booed off the stage, and it was freaking awesome. He did the coin flip and everything else. I'm like, and the thing is, what's so cool about the Houday chant is wherever you see a Bengals fan anywhere in the entire world,
yes,
you say Houday, they say Houday back. They know what it means, and that started with you guys, and I think that's awesome. Also, you were there, and you're one of the models for the stripes when they first introduced them to the media. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's very much one of the biggest honors in my career. I mean, the biggest honor that I had as a Bengal, beyond representing the team as a Cincinnati councilman, was after I retired, when Paul Brown died. I was one of the pallbearers at his funeral.
Okay.
Wow.
So that was a tremendous honor personally. But in 1981, during the off season, I got a call from Al Hine, who was our publicity director, saying, "Are you in town?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we want you to come down and model our new uniform." And it was me and Glenn Bujnak.
Yeah, Buzak. Yep.
And Bujnak has a huge head. Okay, so he wears a size 7+ helmet, and they only had one striped helmet there. It was like a 6 and 7/8. It was much too small for me. I'm a 7 1/4 size head,
Right.
but I was the first one to squeeze that striped helmet on my head, much to the amusement of Glenn Bujnak. But yes, I was the very first person where they didn't have a number 57.
Right.
So I ended up wearing Charles Alexander's number 40, for the reveal of our new uniform.
Right.
I know they've changed the uniform recently, but not much.
No, it's still the helmet, and I don't want them to ever change the helmet. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they did like a retro one where it's black with orange stripes or something like that. But the helmet, keep it the same. I think it is the coolest freaking helmet in the NFL. And I Chris Collinsworth said this before. I guess when you guys saw the stripes, you goes, "Man, we better win with this outfit here." What did you guys really think the first time you saw the helmet and saw the stripes? You were like,
No, it was so much more exciting than our older helmet. I mean, now I nostalgically, I still want the Bengals to one day come back and bring their old uniform back to life.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was so much more exciting,
Right.
a motif of a Bengal, that would, be a predator on the football field than our other uniform. And so I was extremely excited about it. In fact, that season was preceded by both a 4-12 seasons and a 6-10 season. There was no reason to believe that all of a sudden we were going to be the best team in the AFC.
Yep.
That uniform definitely contributed to that attitude in the locker room that we were going to win with this look.
Exactly. Greg, what do you got, man?
So I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think of a good question here. Okay, you're second in the team all time in sacks. Out of all the quarterbacks you sacked, what was that one quarterback you took pride in just sacking all the time? And there was one quarterback you took pride in.
Dan Marino.
Oh,
because he had such a quick release, and it was on the very first play of the game.
Oh wow!
That they were sending a tight end across the formation to block me, and I ducked inside of him and got to Dan Marino's legs before he could get the ball off.
Wow!
And they called a sack. The one quarterback that I missed that I really, really regret is John Elway.
Oh.
And I had him dead to rights. And he did that little move where he swung out.
Yeah.
And I was planning on it, but at the last moment, you're just like, I got him. And I missed him. And so he's the one quarterback of all. The one quarterback that I really took out of the game a couple times, was the Cleveland quarterback.
Kozar?
Not Kozar, the one before Kozar.
Street. 17.
Yeah.
I know you're talking. I can't remember his name.
I couldn't tell you.
Brian Skype?
No, Brian Sipe.
S-I-P-E.
In fact, he was the quarterback that I knocked out of the game in the fourth quarter when we were playing in Cleveland during the 1981 season. Right. And that was the game that we won that ensured that we were going to be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Then the next week we played in Pittsburgh against the Steelers,
Right.
And we beat them there, and that's the one
Reggie,
that guaranteed.
We refer to them as the squealers on this show. It's
Yeah.
realistic if you say it the other way.
You know, I respect the Steelers, okay?
Yeah.
Even though I beat them more times in my 14 years than they beat us,
Yes.
you know, I don't call them the Squealers in the same way I don't like anyone calling us the Bengals.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
so I
got
just give, pure, respect in that regard. But we had to beat Pittsburgh to guarantee that we were the AFC Central North champions.
Right.
And so that put us in a position to be home field advantage for the entire playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't lose a game at home that year. We didn't lose a game at home in the 88 season. So it is something important, for our team to play well enough during the season to get that kind of advantage during the postseason.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of goes to what I've been saying a lot on the show here, that this year the Bengals have got to get off to a 3-0, 5-0, a good start, so we don't have to go to Arrowhead and play in the AFC Championship game. They all can play here, and we can do what you guys did, go undefeated at home, go undefeated at home in the playoffs, and roll that into the Super Bowl. I think that's a very important thing for this year's team to really try to accomplish.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons I do like the draft that we just took place, okay?
Right.
So Miles Murphy, we don't know how good he's going to be, but he has the credentials. But the one thing that we always, as I'm watching on defense, I'm always saying we need one more guy to get in that quarterback's face.
Yep.
We need one more guy that's going to be intimidating to stop a running back from popping through the line of scrimmage. We have great linebackers in Jermaine Pratt and Logan. I like them both. I like Hubbard and Hendricks. We have great defensive end, but we need a wild card. And I'm sure that, Lou Anamarmo will come up with a defensive scheme, take advantage of all the talent that he has. The big concern, of course, is going to be a safety right now. We got one player to come in and help with safety, but, that's your last level of defense, and you need someone who can really shut it down at that position.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned losing. I mean, we all knew we were probably going to lose Jesse Bates, but losing Von Bell, I think, really hurt. But we got we drafted a Battle there, and I think him and Scott actually might battle for the starting position. I mean, I think it's going to be Scott's at the beginning of the season, and maybe Battle comes in toward the end. But I mean, that is a concern to me. Just as much as Bell and Bates did for this defense. Communication, veteran leadership. I mean, that's a lot to lose. So that is a concern on the defense, is that we don't have those guys anymore.
Well, it definitely is. We've had some great defensive backs, in the history of the Bengals. I think that Ken Riley getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame will be an incentive for all of our defensive backs to play even better. And so I think that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to is going up to Canton this summer to really be a part of the celebration. He was really a good friend. We sat together on the bench. We stood together in the huddle. We were roommates. We flew side by side in the airplane. We were friends during the off season. I really do love my brother, Kenny Riley. He was the only Alpha Phi Alpha. We're in the same fraternity.
Oh, cool.
So
that's awesome.
I'm really proud of Ken Riley II.
Yes.
And now he has kept the legacy alive of his father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the only thing that obviously is the sad part of this is that Ken Riley himself will not be alive to really soak in the love that he has earned in his 15-year Cincinnati Bengal career.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more there. I had Ken Riley II on my show a couple of times, and he's an awesome dude. I met his kids and his wife, and they're an awesome family. And Reggie, just what in the world took so long? I mean, that's what I kept telling her about. I'm like, Ken Riley is still 5th to this day in interceptions.
That's ridiculous.
Everybody above him, everybody below him is in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, why? Do you think because the Bengals finally we're doing a Ring of Honor and we've got his name out there more. I mean, I know Bengal Jim did a lot also to help get that going along too. But I think the Bengals themselves getting a Ring of Honor, and eventually you're going to get in the Ring of Honor too. So I mean, I will put that out there. But I mean, do you think that had a lot to do with it, or just because the Bengals couldn't win a Super Bowl, or why couldn't Ken get in? Why don't we have more Bengals in the Hall of Fame?
Well, the first thing I'll go to is, the recognition that you get while you're actually playing.
Right.
And Ken Riley didn't get any of the recognition for all of those interceptions. He never was cited as one of the best cornerbacks in the league. When we went to Super Bowl 16, our defense played just as well as our offense. Mm-hmm. The offense sent 5 or 6 guys to the Pro Bowl, and our defense sent nobody.
Wow.
And so that is really one of the shames, of the game, during that time. But, Kenny, was very laid back. Even though he felt he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, he never let it bring him down. He kept hoping.
Right.
And that's one of the things that, I was proud of also, in terms of coincidences, is that I wrote a chapter in my book, Resilient by Nature, that I dedicated to Ken Riley and gave all my reasons for why he deserved to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And a year later, he was in it. Now, my book didn't have anything to do with it.
It probably helped, though.
It helped.
It sure helped.
Everything helps. Everything helps.
All right, I'll get to Augie here. He gave me a $5 super chat. Appreciate it. He wants to know, how many jerseys would you get during a season? My buddy has one of your aways. It has a bleach stain on the 5th and stitched across with a bleach stain on the 5 and stitched across the 7 where it tore. So I got jerseys go through.
No, you know what? In those days, we didn't get free jerseys. It amazes me now that these players are doing, jersey exchanges at the end of the season. The only time that they may have happened when I played was when it was the last game of the season. At that time, you got 2 jerseys, away jerseys, and 2 home jerseys, and they stitched your jerseys up. If your jersey got damaged or torn, you didn't get a new jersey. You got it stitched up. So I really do love the fact that there's so much merchandising that the NFL is doing around the jerseys, where they can share their game used apparel with the fans.
Right.
And so if this person has one of my jerseys, he's got the real deal.
There you go.
And he's got something that's worth something to me.
Yeah.
So, so it should be worth something to all the great fans that have supported Bengals Nation for now, 54 years, I believe?
Yep.
68.
Yep. So, so if anybody has a jersey like that, they want to get an autograph from you, they can do it this Saturday, right?
Yes, they can. And I'll tell you what, Heirloom Framing does a great job of framing whatever you have.
Yes, they do.
That's the one thing that I can see, that they have a professionalism about their craft.
Yes.
That will make any fan feel like the investment that they put into framing will be realized in the value of what the end product is.
That's what I keep telling Greg. He's got all those jerseys hanging up down there. I said, you don't have them framed. I said, it's autographed. So you got to get them framed, man.
I got to get them framed.
Yeah, but he needs wall space for that.
I know, man. Look at the wall. I'm trying to find space, but I'm doing the best I can here. But I guess I got to add on to the house more. I guess I got to call a contractor or something.
Of course.
Or use your ceiling, man.
Yeah. Put it on the ceiling. There you go.
That's not a bad idea. That's not bad at all. But no, Reg, I want to ask you. So tell me how you got involved with Disney. I mean, you were in charge of a lot of stuff at Disney, which is so cool. So tell us how you got involved with Disney.
So after I retired from the Cincinnati Bengals, I was Cincinnati City Councilman.
Yep.
And then I was hired by the National Football League to be the general manager of the New York, New Jersey Knights. And so we were the New York Knights. We are the ones that brought the rivalry to Europe. We were the prime antagonist of the London Monarchs. You wonder why there's a game every year in London. It's because of our rivalry.
Right.
But that league only lasted 2 years. Then I was hired by Jim Steig, who was head of the Super Bowl and special events, to be the director of community relations, because the Super Bowl was in Pasadena, which is near Los Angeles that year. And that was the year after the Rodney King riots. And so I had to come up with a concept that really demonstrated that the NFL cared about the community. They weren't just about, a league that would come in and everyone would party, bring in all their jets, take over all the public parks, and then leave.
Right.
And so I came up with the concept of NFL Youth Education Town, which is a multifaceted education and recreation facility for the most at-risk kids in the most at-risk neighborhood in Southern California. And so we built the first NFL yet in Compton on the same corner where the Rodney King riots started.
Wow.
Okay. And so that was something I was very proud of.
Absolutely.
Garth Brooks, the country singer, is the person that funded the very first NFL Youth Education Town. My job during the Super Bowl was to escort him to the center of the field during the Super Bowl to sing the national anthem.
Wow.
And so we became friends, and I told him what I was doing, and he became so excited. And he didn't want his name associated with it. He did show up at the press conference, but he is such a humble superstar that he funded hundreds of thousands of dollars. He put all of the proceeds for 2 of his concerts to fund the very first NFL Youth Education Town.
Wow.
There ended up being 22. Every Super Bowl after that wanted to have a place where they could provide some benefit to the most at-risk kids in the most at-risk neighborhoods. Well, when I had just launched that, I went to the Walt Disney Company to get some sponsorship. And one of the guys I went to was a classmate of mine at Dartmouth College. His name was Michael Montgomery.
Okay.
At that time, he was the treasurer of the company. And so he took me to the executive dining room, and I'm sitting there, and of all the people to come up to me was Michael Eisner, who was the chairman of the company at the time.
Right.
And he came up and said, "Look, we just bought the Mighty Ducks. We have a bunch of land at Walt Disney World, and we want to get into the sports business. What would you do?" And he asked me that question, and rather than say, "Wow, what would I do?" Wow, God, that's a good question. I had an answer, and my answer was to build, the #1 youth sports complex in the world that would be modeled after the Olympics, so that you'd have several sports competing simultaneously. And the big allure was that you're always trying to be the very best, to be the champion at the level that you're competing at. But even if you lose, you're still at the happiest place on earth.
Right.
And see, that's the one thing about me. When we lost both of our Super Bowls, I was nowhere near the happiest place.
No, none of us were.
Right,
exactly.
So that's how I ended up at Disney.
Wow.
And, it was a great career. I enjoyed everything that we put together there. And, they hosted the NBA championship a couple years ago in the bubble. And right now, it is the epicenter of women cheerleading and dance. And the facility was also very instrumental in helping Major League Soccer start in Cincinnati. So there's a lot of things about the legacy. We hosted the Atlanta Braves for 20 plus years.
That's right.
And the whole time they were there, they had just won the World Series before we opened the complex. The whole time they were in Walt Disney World, they win another World Series. But the year after their contract expired, they win a World Series.
Of course that happens that way. Of course. Rob here's got more of a statement here. He says, "Don't forget Reggie was the NFL Man of the Year Also, love my Bengals getting that award. What year did you win the Man of the Year, and what does that mean for you?
I won the year in 1986, and it's a very, very prestigious award. I'm very fortunate that a lot of the community service that I was involved in has resulted in a certain amount of recognition. I also received the Byron Wizard White Award, Humanitarian Award from the National Football League Players Association. And I also got the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year Award in 1987. But, I saw someone made a comment about when you were promoting the show. One of your people wrote in that I wasn't a union guy. And
I saw that too. I just ignored that one.
and it's not true. My father was in the AFL-CIO for his whole time. He worked at General Motors. So he was at Fisher Body in Flint, Michigan. He was on the picket line for many years. The year that that they had the strike,
right,
was the year that I was being the NFL Man of the Year.
Right.
So, can you really say that the NFL Man of the Year will strike the NFL that gave him that award?
Right.
I'm a psych major, but I couldn't figure that one out.
If you can't figure it out, I sure can't.
At the end of the day, the NFL, still has to be recognized for the legacy and the sport that they had, put on the field, that had taken the sport from just being also-ran sport. Because when I came to the league, baseball was king.
Right.
The Cincinnati Reds were the kings of the kingdom.
Not anymore, they're not.
They aren't anymore. But in those days, we were second-class citizens at Riverfront Stadium. Marshott treated her Great Danes, the Shotsies, better than she treated us. She would let them poop on the field. We certainly didn't want that. But, you still have to respect the NFL. And if they're giving you their highest community service award, you have to respect the NFL and you have to represent them.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Let's see here. Now, Crypt Keeper here has got a question. So, Mr. Williams, does it feel good at halftime destroying the Oilers during your halftime retirement?
That's a great memory that you brought up, the Crypt Keeper. It's funny that you say that because that was the game that they were recognizing me for my last game. We were playing the Houston Oilers. We were like a game out of the playoffs. We had to win, but we ended up beating them, I think, 61-7. The largest margin of victory in Cincinnati Bengals history.
No kidding.
And I ended up with a couple sacks in that game.
Nice.
And so at halftime, that's what I talked about. I was really, really sad about this being my last game, but it sure feels good to be winning.
Yes.
It was 31-0 at halftime.
When was your last year now?
That was 1989. And so the next game was Monday Night Football in Minnesota.
Yep.
The winner of the game would go to the playoffs.
Yep.
And I remember that game. It was snowing, and it was like a perfect moonlit night that you could imagine Santa Claus, going across the sky. And Santa Claus just wasn't there for us.
No,
we lost that game. Our offense played horribly.
Yep.
I don't think they scored any points in that game. When you score 61 the week before,
I know,
right? And, with almost scratch next week, but that ended up being the last game of my NFL career. I remember Dick LeBeau coming up to me after the game because I had a couple sacks in that game too, and said, "You sure you want to retire?" And I answered quickly because I didn't want to go into my emotions.
Right.
But if he had told me, "Oh, and by the way, you're only one game behind Ken Riley for the most games played by any player in Cincinnati Bengal history," I probably would have said yes.
Yeah, I remember the '89 season. We're coming off the '88 season, and for some reason, you guys were just up and down that whole year. Just like you say, you blew the Oilers out, then do some hot against the Minnesota Vikings. That was a first straight year. But I want to get back to the first Super. Actually, first of all, you got time to stay on. You've been on for over a half hour right now.
We'll take it to the home stretch.
Sounds good. All right, so first Super Bowl in Bengals history. It's played in Pontiac, Michigan. It's one of the coldest, again, places for a Super Bowl that they've had. Just what does that mean? And I can't stand the 49ers because they beat us twice. But the feeling of taking the team to their first Super Bowl and going there, and you guys were in it. You had every chance to win the game. What was the feeling of going to the first ever Super Bowl for this franchise? Because you will never be forgotten because of that.
Oh, that was a tremendous opportunity for us. It's one of the games that has a real significant personal history. I was born and raised in Flint, Michigan,
right.
And Pontiac is only 40 miles away.
Yep.
Wow.
And so we would play some of the Pontiac high schools when we were playing in high school. I wrestled against them. And on the San Francisco 49ers, their starting running back was Ricky Patton.
Yeah.
Ricky Patton was my Southwestern Colts high school teammate.
Really?
And so
wow.
that was the first and really I think the only time that two high school teammates face off against each other in a Super Bowl. I think with with Kelsey and his brother, I think they were on the same high school team.
Right.
But in that respect, only one of us will be going home with a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
And so that's why that had even more pressure on going home a champion.
Right.
And that game was another game back-to-back that we didn't do any pregame warm-ups at the Super Bowl, was primarily because the traffic was so horrible.
I heard about that.
Getting into the stadium that we didn't get into the stadium until it was too late to even do a pregame warm-up. So, the first half, we played poorly. I think we were down 20-0. In fact, I know we're down 20-0.
Yep.
And that halftime, I gave an impassioned halftime speech, and we roared out of the locker room in the second half. Our offense went down the field, scored a touchdown. It's now 20-7. Our defense went on the field. We stuffed them, and it's now 27. Then our offense went all the way down the field to the 1-yard line, and that's where they had that amazing defensive goal line stand.
Yeah.
And how they stopped big old Pete Johnson.
Yeah.
3 times, on the goal line was amazing to me.
Yeah.
And that was the reason, that was the difference in the game.
Oh, it absolutely was.
If we would have won that game, it would have been 20-14. We'd have been rolling high. We would have dominated the fourth quarter as we ended up doing anyway. But unfortunately, that was one of the big defensive plays in all of Super Bowl history.
Oh, exactly. So you go from Detroit, Michigan to indoor cold facility to your next Super Bowl in sunny Miami, Florida. And that's when they started calling the River Stadium the Jungle. So 2 things you were a part of: the Who Dey chant, and the year we started naming Riverfront the Jungle. And Welcome to the Jungle became the theme song for the Bengals that year. Just what was that? The difference? I'll roll it this way: the differences between the 81 run and the 88 run. What were the highlights of those two that just separates them?
Well, the Guns N' Roses songs, Welcome to the Jungle, it was there before Super Bowl 23. I think I remember jamming to that, even before our uniform changed. It was something that was synonymous with the hometown music that you would hear. And it's a great song. Welcome to the jungle.
We got fun and games.
Slash is like my favorite guitarist of all time. That opening riff he has to Welcome to the Jungle. It's like waking up the whole crowd and all that. I mean, that has to be used only at Paycor and Paycor only.
It's there. It's what they played when we scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right. So it was celebratory. It was all that. Well, Super Bowl 23 was different in that when we got to Miami, that's where they had the riot in Overtown.
Yeah.
So from our hotel windows, we could see the fire, going up. And so I remember on my day off, I went down into Overtown to visit a Boys and Girls Club, and a lot of players did other kind of comparable community service things. But all of a sudden, security was changed.
Right.
We had a big police escorts. I was the liaison with our police force because I was on Cincinnati City Council at the time.
Right.
And so it was a completely different atmosphere. It was hot, and we were playing the same opponent. Didn't want to lose to these same guys 2 Super Bowls in a row. Yep. And yet we ended up. And once again, unfortunately, our offense failed to really put an offensive touchdown together.
None.
Both of our Super Bowl years, we had the NFL most valuable player and Kenny Anderson and Boomer Esiason, and in both Super Bowls in that era, both our quarterbacks probably played their worst games of the year. Yep. And that's why, Joe Burrow, has played 2 great games in his last 2 championship appearances. And so, Joey might be, the best quarterback in Cincinnati Bengal history.
He might be. He might be. Now, Crypt Keeper had something on here about the field. It said at Miami, he said that was the worst field in Super Bowl history. What you got your thoughts on how bad the field was?
Oh, the field was really horrible. It was raining in Miami, and so they put the tarp out on the field. And I guess as they left the tarp on too long, and there's a suction going underneath the turf to try to get rid of all of the moisture. And that resulted in, really having a lot of divots in the field. And that's how Tim Crumry suffered a devastating broken leg. And the San Francisco 49ers lost an offensive lineman as well to the field conditions. It's really something well below the NFL's standards.
Right.
But you got to play the game. There's nowhere else to go. The world is there waiting for you, and so they weren't gonna, hold off the game another week to get another field.
Right. Exactly. Now, that's one thing I've always wondered. You were a city council member and professional football player.
Yep.
How in the world did you balance both of those?
It really was a mindset, and I really feel that it helped contribute to everyone on the team performing a little bit better. I mean, like I said, we came off of a 6-12 season to all of a sudden 12-4, and if you have one of your starting players, he's not even there on the Wednesday when you install your defense. But by that time, I was one of the, gray beards, literally, of the team. And I knew our defense as well as anyone, including our coach. So really, the day that I had off probably helped me personally because it took less wear and tear off of my legs. Right. But, it really did accentuate the love I had for the city of Cincinnati. To really be involved in all of the pressing issues of all the fans and the kids who were living there. I remember fighting really hard, and I don't know where everyone's position is, but if you love kids, one thing that you don't want are guns in classrooms, in schools.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was one of the things I fought for and just barely lost. And that's one of my biggest regrets, given all of the calamities we have with mass shootings and use of these, these 47, war weapons on children. It's just something that really inspires you. You want to win for these kids. You're fighting for their life in city council. And so, it was something that inspired me to play as well as I could, given that it was towards the end of my career. And, that 88 season was one of my best games. In fact, the Super Bowl 23, was probably my single best game in my NFL career.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You and Full Rock were all over the place. I remember that. You David Fulcher played awesome in that game. I mean, it's kind of like Chroma went out and you guys elevated your game, and we're like, we're 24 seconds away from winning it. Like, oh
no, but what kills me about the game is I'm on the sideline.
Yeah.
Okay. So they took me out the game. Now Full Rock was on the field.
You're right.
So he was there, and I look at him a little bit like this, like, you were there, man. And that's one of my biggest regrets. I just couldn't believe that they, Dick LeBeau called a defense that was a 4-1 defense at that time, which basically meant that we only had one linebacker in the field, and they put Leo Barker in there to replace me, and they just went down the field so quick.
Yes, I remember.
It was like, is there anyone playing defense at all?
Yeah. Should have put you in there. Maybe you could have put Montana on his ass.
Oh, I had a sack on Montana that game already. I had a quarterback pressure where I almost put him out of the game. If you ever watch the game,
I watched it.
I tried not to. But...
No, the last play of the third quarter of Super Bowl 23, I got to Joe on a quick blitz from the inside. I lined up in a 3-point stance as a defensive lineman and got to him like that. He should not have gotten up, okay, but he did, and he made us pay.
Oh, yeah, Reggie, I was 12 years old, and in my childhood home, I went and bashed about 3 or 4 holes in my closet. After that game, I was so ticked off because I was just like you. I did not want to lose to the 49ers again. Well, didn't want to lose anyway. I especially didn't want to lose to the 49ers again. I was so upset.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah, he's a little young boy. But let's get to present day here. We have another number 57 rolling the field there, and Pratt here. How do you feel about Pratt being re-signed and wearing your number? I think representing 57 pretty well.
He does represent number 57 very well. He's made some big plays, both in pass coverage. He's got a couple interceptions late in the game that won the game, and he's made some big plays on defense and tackling. There was the controversy about him in the last play jumping on one of his teammates, and realistically, that's something that, you really can't do.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. No one is on the field trying to make a mistake.
Right.
Yes. And my understanding is the reason that he was upset in some part was because he felt that it was going to be his last game as a Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
And so that means that, really, the organization and the coaching staff has got to talk to their players more, so that they know that it's not all or none, and things like me. I know things are much more intense with contracts, and your ability to not just hold on to the players that you want to, but free agency is a whole different animal that I didn't have to really deal with until the last year of my career. And it was a non-issue to me because I wasn't going to go anywhere else.
Right.
Okay. But, it has changed the game. But I am very glad that he is back.
Absolutely.
For the Cincinnati Bengals. He is definitely a winner. And with him and Logan Wilson, really do represent all of the great tradition of linebackers through the time that I played. I played with Jim LeClaire.
Yep.
Who was a great middle linebacker. Then I played with Joe Kelly, who was a great middle linebacker. So I think it's good to have the linebacker position a nice 1-2 punch.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Greg.
So, Reg, you were talking Jermaine Pratt. My favorite Jermaine Pratt play, we're playing the Chiefs. We need this big stop by the Chiefs. And Travis Kelce just catches the ball. I'm like, oh, man, he's going to go down the field, score a touchdown. Pratt comes over, rips that ball out of his hands. And we score. I think we score after that. That changed the whole aspect of the game. We won the game because of that. Pratt just made so many big plays. When I found out we re-signed Pratt, I was like I'm like, oh my God. I was shocked. I thought he was going to go somewhere else.
Greg literally ripped his shirt off and ran around the neighborhood.
I probably did and all that stuff. I mean, I was just, I mean, that game against the Chiefs and Paul Brown, there was not one empty seat. That was one of the best plays I've ever seen. Well, that and clinching the first playoff win.
Yeah, I was about to say he won the first playoff game.
Yeah. So that was number one. But that play against Travis Kelce, I mean, and me and Strawberry are huge Bearcat fans, but that was awesome to see. So
that was huge. That was huge. All right, Reggie. Well, you've been on for almost an hour. I appreciate you coming on. Tell everybody again where you're going to be at this Saturday so they can get autographs and all that cool stuff.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing anyone that wants to come out to Heirloom Framing. It's in Fairfield, Ohio, and I'll be there from 11 to 1 o'clock. You can get a Reggie Williams bobblehead, but if you have pictures or you have my book that you want me to sign,
or a jersey,
or anything that really will add to your man cave, please join me out at Heirloom Framing this weekend, Saturday, 11 to 1 o'clock. Hey, I appreciate being on your show, Strawberry Ice, and Greg. My brother's named Greg, so I feel like I'm with family here.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Who they gonna beat them Bengals? Ain't nobody in the jungle but us, baby.
Thank you, Reggie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Reggie.
Who day, brother? Thank you very much. Who day?
That was freaking cool.
That was, oh my gosh. You talk
Reggie
about
Williams is cool, dude.
You talk about a guy so passionate about his team. That is just so awesome. I mean, that got me fired up. That makes me proud to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan, right?
Exactly. I'll give a shout out to Tommy Wilson. He's the one that helped me set this up. So I appreciate Tommy for reaching out for that and helping me get Reggie on the show.
That was awesome.
That was cool. I mean, I that was hearing old stories and everything.
Right.
I mean, I can listen to that all day long. I've had a couple of these guys on here, but
absolutely.
Greg, what do you guys got going on at Rally this week? You got another show this week, or what do you got going on?
No, as of right now, we don't have another show. I know when the season starts, we will definitely be doing 2 shows. I don't know when as of right now, it's just Mondays right now, but I'll let you know as soon as possible when we go Mondays and Wednesdays. It'll definitely happen probably around preseason or somewhere close to season. I can guarantee you that.
Awesome, Greg. Well, I appreciate you co-hosting, brother.
Dude, thank you so much for this, man. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Who day, bro?
Who day, bro?
All right, guys. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. That was freaking cool. I mean, I just got to interview Reggie Williams. like when Tommy reached out and asked that, I'm like, yeah, sure. I'd like to interview Reggie Williams. Like, that's awesome. So anyway, if you guys missed any of it, make sure you check it out. I'll try to get it on via podcast. I don't know if that many people listen to the podcast, but you can rewatch it on the YouTube show because if you guys follow me on Twitter, I think I'm in the middle of destroying my kitchen and rebuilding it. So I got a lot of stuff going on. So it might be up on the podcast. It might not. Anyway, but let's get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And I appreciate every single one of them. They are Who Day Nation, Who Day Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Radical Reds, the Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar. And of course, you can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Turnipole. TikTok is at Iceman90. I said I might be pulling off on the podcast. If I do, it's on Beanpod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitch Play. Pretty much where you get your podcast. Make sure you rate, like, and review. Leave a 5-star review and a comment so more Cincinnati Bengal fans can find my podcast. YouTubers, you guys are awesome. 2,201 subscribers. You guys are unfreaking believable. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, if you guys don't watch this stuff, there ain't no way in hell Reggie Williams is reaching out or getting somebody that wants to come on my show or any of this stuff. So I believe it. Can I get Ken Anderson? I've tried to get Ken Anderson. I've reached out to him, working on it. It's a work in progress. So I have been working on trying to get him on for 5 years. So maybe I can. I don't know. We'll see. Sometimes people are like, you need to get Joe Burrow on here. I would love to get Joe Burrow on here. It's not that easy. I'm not a media guy. But anyway, I will do my best, Ken, to try to get on Ken Anderson for you. Anyway, other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. We got Brian Brzee on tomorrow, draft guy. He's on before the draft, so I think Greg, and Dale on. We'll be discussing the Bengals draft with him. Thursday, heads up, Richard Skinner, I think it's going to come on, but I think it's going to be earlier, like 11, 12, somewhere around there. So heads up on that. I might be going earlier on Thursday. So I'm working on some more great guests this week. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Talked about it yesterday, just that chip on your shoulder. Everyone talking about a neutral AFC championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds.
I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. Back-to-back champs, kings of the north with it. Thinking they can hang with us, still ain't jumped out the porch with it. Long bomb to chase every Sunday, watch him go and get it. Double up on him, then we gon' double down on T. Higgins. Then throw Boyd in the mix, now you really iffy. Every Sunday showing boys how to really gritty. They try to shuffle up the game on us, but they ain't icky. Flip the coin, kick the toe right to the go and get it. Never know what's gonna happen when Joe drop back. He get shiesty in the pocket, I get shiesty on the track. Nobody on the team all pro, that's all cap. Most all around team in the NFL, that's all fact. Ain't came across nobody yet that seem like they can hang with us. They said we couldn't be Buffalo, but see how we call they bluff. Underdogs every week, they keep on trying to label us. Put your money on us, even if Vegas don't favor us. No matter what, we really came up, now it's hard to fail. I dare you come across that middle, Von gon' ring your bell. I know we under they skin, them boys built frail. Eli Apple out there chirping like a next tail. You don't want Salmon Trey to come off them ends. Rita clogging up the middle like a big body Benz. Right behind them Logan and Pratt, the turnover twins. Jesse Bates in the backfield just to clean up the loose ends. We just drafted Cam and drafted Hill. Instant gratification every time that they on the field. We can't go back to what we was, cause that's the loser way. It's been hard to throw on us since we picked up a Woozier. It's like win after win, feel like we could really do it. Zach Taylor doing his thing for the city, I give it to him. And I bet Samaji will find a hole if you give it to him. Hayden Hurst don't need a hole, he just plan on running through him. Just hand it out to 28 and let him do the dash. Getting hit by BJ Hill probably feel like a car crash. Every week it seem like Lou digging deeper in his bag. And if the game on the line, all my favorite money match. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. And we ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up.